In the previous videos, we've seen how to create a query from multiple tables. We're going to do the same thing over here. The difference is that we're going to use all the three tables that we have, the customer, sales and invoices, and we will then make or design that query according to the analysis that I want to do. Let's get started and you'll be able to understand what I'm trying to say. Go to the Create tab and go to the Query Design. Under Query Design, it asks us which tables we want to add. I want the customers table, the contracts table, as well as the invoices table. We see all the three tables that we want are here. You can always drag and drop according to your needs so that you are easily able to see the tables that you have selected. You can see the relationship between them as well. And now let's start selecting the fields we want. Let's say from the customers table, I want the customer's name. From the contracts table, I want the order ID. From the invoices, I require the invoice date, the product ID, the product amount, and invoice paid. What is this invoice paid? Invoice paid is whether or not the customer has paid that invoice. If you run this query, you'll be able to see all the fields that we selected. We have this customer Bonap who has this order ID, their date of invoice, the product ID, the amount that they need to pay, and whether they have paid the invoice or not. Yes, they have paid. For B's Beverages, no, they are yet to pay. So my goal of preparing this query is basically to find out who all customers have not paid their invoices, and because they have not paid their invoice, I'm going to charge them certain penalty which they need to pay. So I'm supposed to calculate the penalty that these customers, the customers who have not paid the invoice, will pay. Okay, because eventually we want to notify these customers that hello, you have been late in paying your invoices, and I'm going to send them a notice or a letter saying that this is the penalty fee because you have not paid the invoice. So I want to now limit this query to those people who have not paid their invoice. Let's get back to the design view and let's see how we can do it. Earlier we had done that for the country wherein we wanted customers from UK or USA, but here what happens is we have a yes or a no. We want to know whether that invoice had been, if it has been paid, then it will show a yes, and if it is not been paid, it will show a no. In this case, we want to know only those who have not paid. So we are not interested in people who have paid. We are happy that they have paid, and so we don't want them in this analysis. We just want those who have not paid. So in the criteria, what we're going to specify is a no. Okay, I want customers who have not paid. So this is going to give the list of customers whose status in paying the invoice is no. So if you run this query, yes, successfully we can see that the customers with all the invoices who have not paid are ready in front of us. But then I don't want this no to be visible every time I open this. I should clearly know that yes, this query is only for those who have not paid the invoice. So I don't require this extra field. I don't want this record displaying no. So we can hide this, right? So we'll go back and we'll uncheck this. Now if you run, we see that though we have the customers who have not paid the invoices, the column which displayed the no again and again has now gone off. Fine. So this is what we did. Good enough. Now in this later part of the video, we're going to calculate how to add another field that is going to calculate the late fees for us. We now know that which customers have not paid. Now we're going to calculate their late fees. Basically, the late fees, according to the business rule, XYZ business rule, is that the late customers or the customers who have not paid their invoices, they'll have to pay 5% of their invoice amount. Correct? So what you need to do is, I want to add a field which will calculate the late fees. So you need to click where you want to add that particular field, and under the Design tab, you need to click on the Builder button. This builder will help you create a calculated field. So we click on Builder. As soon as you click on Builder, this thing will open up and what you want is basically calculate the late fees, which is the invoice amount into 0.05. Correct? Before we do that, let's just save this query first. Yes, we are saying it as invoices not paid, and we click on OK. Let's now open this query in the design view, and now let's go to the builder, and you will find that this expression builder gives us the various categories that we want. Since it is going to be a calculation of the invoice amount, we select the invoice amount, and it is going to be 5% of this invoice amount. So multiplication sign into 0.05. Once you have put the formula correctly, you just need to click on OK. And over here, this field got created, but the only problem is that it is showing EXPR1 instead of EXPR1. This is basically the name of that particular header. We'll keep it as late fees, which will clearly show us what it means. Now if you click on run, you will find that the late fees have been calculated, which is basically the invoice amount into the late fees percentage, which is 0.05. So this is how you can create a calculated field in your query. Now let's say you want to add the dollar symbol to this field, because this late fees is a currency. So we want to do that. So let's get back to the design view and keep your cursor on this late fees. Go to this property sheet right at the top, and over here go to the field you want to format. Okay, and then under format you need to click on, sorry, I'm on the decimal places. Format, click on currency, and for decimal places we'll choose 2 decimal places. You can choose according to your business conditions, but we usually take 2 decimal places, and you need to close this and run. You will find that the dollar symbol is there now, and the 2 decimal places condition is also in picture. Correct? We'll save this over here so that the conditions we gave have now saved. Let's say now I want to calculate what are the total late fees for this invoices which have not been paid. It's quite simple, right? We have already done that. We just need to keep the cursor here under the home tab, click on this totals, and you will find that this total row has come up. You can now use this key, the small arrow symbol over here, to do whatever you want to with this late fees. I want to sum it up. So now you can see that the sum of total late fees that I'm going to get through this customers is somewhere around $234. Okay, again I'll save my changes that I have made. Again, now if you change any of the invoice amount, if you go back to the invoices table and make the changes, you will be able to see the reflection over here as well. Correct? So this is how you can do the changes in your, or modify your changes which will be accepted. You can also modify the percentage of late fees. You just need to open this in the design view, and here where you have specified the amount of late fees can be easily changed. You just need to change this percentage from 0.05. If you want to make it 10%, you can just do that, and the changes will be made accordingly in the invoices not paid query. Okay, so with this we have completed this query designing, this section on query designing, wherein we created query using multiple tables, using the simple query wizard, and then we also explored the design view of creating queries and the various features this has to offer us.